Welcome in, everybody, to race number 6 of the PGR Lite Series, and this week we have a little bit of a different setting for y'all. We are at Atlanta tonight. It's a little bit of a new track. It is that kind of hybrid sort of super speedway mile and a half, and it introduces a new sort of skill set for these guys to have to deal with tonight. And we're definitely going to be looking forward to it. It's going to be a new sort of thing that we've seen in the Lite Series this season compared to your standard Daytona and Talladega. There's going to be some tire saving. And once again, we have a full field here tonight, which is also going to introduce a little bit of an X factor in terms of crashes and things of that nature. Joining me in the booth tonight, once again, is Matthew Baker. How you feeling about it?
Yeah, excited for another challenge to put forth to these so-called little guys, or the Lite Series, as you will. But there are some names in this field that are coming out to play for a one-off that I would consider not too little when it comes to racing mile and a half. One of that being Colton Salick in the P4 spot. Going to be a slobber knocker between him, Wyatt Gray. I think Triscaro is going to be up there, Tanner Kasinger, and Stephen Miles once he gets up there.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go ahead and take you to the grid real quick as they are rolling to the green this time. Casey Sprinkle will start first tonight, Wyatt Gray in second, Evan Carlbon third, Colton Salick fourth, Michael Triscaro fifth, Dawson Wise in sixth, Steve Sizemore seventh, Chris Walker in eighth, Ron Morris Jr. in ninth, and Tanner Kasinger will round out the top 10. Starting in 11th tonight will be Austin Green. 12th place will be Axel Smith. 13th place tonight will be David Flanagan for the Jack Shack, Brian Hendricks at 14th, Sean Hilkowitz 15th, Jonathan Herbert 16th, Nick Simple 17th, Josh McCullough 18th, Quentin Steinbach 19th, and Josh Giambroni in 20th. The 21st will be Sean Corbett for Hybrid Motorsports, Chase Mastretta in 22nd, Tucker McClendon 23rd, Joey Galati 24th, 25th, Teresa Spiker, Greg Spiker 26th, David Sheets 27th, Michael Wingo 28th, Tyler Vickery 29th, Stephen Miles in 30th. Richard Elliott 31st, Dalton Steele 32nd, Chris Melton 33rd, Brock Westmoreland 34th, Edward Fiedler 35th, James Wagner in 36th, Dejan Monte in 37th, Ambrose Knable 38th, James Waring in 39th, and Mark Vondell rounds out the field in 40th position here tonight. It's a 90-lap race in the Truck Series, no fast repair. I believe unlimited tire sets, if I'm not mistaken.
It's 3 sets of tires.
Okay, 3 sets of tires.
It'll be 4 with the one that they have on the truck. We're going to delay the start here, go one more round. Since it's the mile and a half, not everyone even caught up yet. So,
well, that gives us more time to go ahead and go through this. So like we said, the Craftsman Truck Series here, 90-lap race, 70% to fuel tank. So a little bit of a heavier load in the fuel tanks tonight, longer runs on that fuel tank. 3 tire sets, no fast repair, fixed setups, and 3 overtimes as always. But yeah, we've got a 40-car field here tonight. That, honestly, I think is the lightest one we've had, and that's a pretty good thing. I mean, we've had so many cars show up and show out for this Lite Series, and we still have 40 trucks out here on the racetrack tonight, and it's definitely going to be an exciting one. Like we said, involving the skill sets and things of that nature. The tire saving, you're going to see guys sitting at the back and save their tires. Tire saving you don't ever see in normal super speedway racing, and we're going to be seeing it here tonight with these guys.
yeah, and the fuel run, looking at it right now, it's 70%. It's about 38 laps, so can't go the full distance off of one stop, so you're going to have to stop twice. See how that strategy plays out at a mile and a half. Like you said, saving tires, and what gets you pace, what dictates pace? Is it draft or is those tires?
Yeah, exactly, and at some point tire wear will become a thing no matter what the weather is, and we'll take one quick look at the weather. It's a 74-degree track temp, so a very cool one, but at the end of the day, tires are still going to be worn, and they will become a factor. The pace truck is going to roll off this time by, and we will be green flag racing for 90 laps of the new and some would say improved Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's going to roll in this time by. Casey Sprinkle and Wyatt Gray are going to lead them to the green flag. And there it is. We are racing here at Atlanta. So you see the field right now, still double file as Evan Carlbon is going to take the lead on the bottom for the Jack Shack. He jumps it over Casey Sprinkle and Wyatt Gray and the rest of the field, so an early lead for Carlbon.
That bottom side is rolling a little bit better. No really help on the outside for Wyatt Gray, but you see Michael Triscaro doing a great job there. Second in line on the bottom. Not really shuffling too much back and forth. Colton Salek going to get to the back bumper, try and push him up. Casey Sprinkle, though, giving a good push to Evan Carbone there in the first position.
Yeah, and there was a little bit of debate before this race that I saw, considering that red line down there at the bottom, which in real life acts as sort of the double yellow line. Well, Baker, you're going to have to clarify this, because I saw at first that that is not a rule tonight, and they can go as far down as they want. But then there was something about 2 tires can go under and this and that. And I'm 99% sure that's the move Evan Carlbon made to take the lead right here.
Yeah, so we're going 2 below the apron there. You can't take all 4 below. It has to be just your left sides below. So we're going to give warnings. It's really fast acting pace. Oh, one around up back. He's into the wall, collecting the others. Still just one in the wall, though.
Trying to find it back here. We see him in the wall right there. That's Teresa Spiker in the 70 that tapped the wall, but the yellow flag will not wave. It was only 1 car involved. Back at the front, we're still 2x2. Everything is sitting stable right now. Carlbon's still leading right now. Jonathan Herbert tagging the wall right there in the trial, and he's going to get hooked, and they might save it. He's going to turn down to the Ron Morris, and the yellow flag will come out. There's a couple guys trying to come back up the racetrack. Looks like we're kind of going to get away from this one pretty clean.
Unscathed.
Yeah. That's really good to see that, considering Jonathan Herbert just got turned at the very front of the field. I'm going to take a look at it right here.
Looks like Herbert tagged the wall. When he went get back down in line, Hilkowitz was there to his inside.
Yeah, we saw Herbert in the 87 tag the wall. Yeah, he just comes down in front of Hilkowitz in the 48. He will get hooked off the nose of Hilkowitz, spin down into Ron Morris. And Ron Morris is going to go for a ride right here. He's going to say, we see Josh McCullough getting hooked in the back. But I think everyone's going to get away from this okay if we can try and find Josh McCullough where he might be. That's Stephen Miles. Josh McCullough, he saved it. He's still trying to save it right there. And then everyone out back, they're going to get away from this A-OK. So an early caution, but no damage at all for these guys. Very good to see that. We see Ron Morris right there in the 76 still doing everything he can to save it. And we saw 3 trucks sideways, and all 3 of them save it with very minimal damage. Very, very good to see that. Keep them in contention. There is no fast repair tonight, as was mentioned before the race. So these guys definitely want as little damage as possible, but you can kind of expect that it could happen at some point. Let's go on board with Sean Hilkowitz and see what he saw. Even though it is pretty cut and dry what happened in front of him. But we're going to take it back a little bit.
Looks like a brain fart from Wyatt Gray and Michael Triscaro there. They took the pit road entrance off of 4 when you're supposed to take it into 3 now.
That was something that I did mean to mention at the start of this. So when Atlanta was first introduced into iRacing, there was that new rule that exists in NASCAR now where you have to enter on the backstretch. That was not a thing. That was basically non-existent until very recent. And now you do have to pit basically entering turn 3, and that will give you a penalty, and that's, as far as I know, not anything that the race control will be able to clear, because it's technically an illegal pit entry, and that's obviously not allowed. You can see those lines right there at the bottom under the apron. Those are kind of the timing lines, the scoring loops for that, and we're definitely going to have to watch out for that if by some chance we have a green flag run long enough for green flag pit stops. We'll have to see these guys, that the ones that paid attention and remembered that that's what they needed to do versus the ones that didn't, because that could very well cost them this race. But Evan Carlbon still holds the lead over Casey Sprinkle. Dawson Wise in 3rd. Colton Salek 4th. Tanner Kasinger's made his way to 5th. Axel Smith in 6th. Steve Sizemore in 7th. Sean Hilkowitz after that very early yellow, or instant for him, with Jonathan Herbert sits in the 8th position. Austin Green in 9th, and Brian Hennings in 10th. So we're 8 laps in, and I'm glad that we got a little bit under us, Baker, before the first yellow came out. But like we said, not a lot of damage. Those guys are still going to be able to compete and vie for the win.
Yeah, just looked like a unfortunate, just getting in the wall, trying to get back clear and keep riding in line, but Hilkowitz is already there. But a couple other cars that just are towards the absolute back now, Triscaro and Wyatt Gray, they're going to have a long road ahead of them to get back up to the front.
Yeah, here's Triscaro and Westmoreland, Herbert, Stephen Miles, lots of names back here that will be starting from the very back of the field. Gonna have not an easy job, but it might work out for them if we do get that green run. They're able to save their tires at the back of that pack and run that art-style tire-saving line around the track with nobody to their outside. Maybe that'll work out for him. But Evan Carlbon's gonna lead him into the restart box here with his teammate Dawson Wise behind him, and they jump early. It's going to be a good start for Carlbon on the bottom. Casey Sprinkle has no help with Colton Salick behind him. And you're going to see what Carlbon's going to do here. He's going to stay on the bottom. There's not a lot of controlling the lines here at a racetrack like Atlanta. Even though, yes, it's technically a super speedway, but temperatures don't really come into effect, especially later in a run, because there's already that built-in gap between all the guys because of the tire wear and anything else. Like, it's just they don't get tight enough, and it's such a short racetrack and narrow one, there's just really nowhere to hide. So they try to give themselves a little room. Colton Salick's going to the 3rd lane on Casey Sprinkle right now, but he has no help up there as everyone except Austin Green decides in 38 he wants to hop up there. There's Teresa Spiker on the bottom getting put a lap down. Tanner Kasinger's going to hop up in front of Sprinkle right here heading into 3.
And that's the 2 Embry-Riddle cars up on the high side in the College iRacing Series. Colton Salick and Austin Green, they both run pretty well. Just trying to see what the 3rd lane's going to gin up, but it's not going to happen with the tire wear. Salick, going over the radio, said he went there because he was avoiding a checkup and he wanted to go right back to the bottom. But you see Casey Sprinkle, he dives down to the bottom clear of Evan Carbone, doing a great job. And you talk about you don't have to manage the lines when it comes to temps. You have to manage the lines when it comes to the runs, though. And you can really do that on corner entry and corner exit, locking down to the bottom whenever you're clear from the top to the bottom, and then coming right back up on corner exit.
Yeah, we're seeing Kasinger take a really wide line in turn 3 and 4 right there. Basically every corner, big gaps between the bottom and the top line right now. Usually you see them right down there on that door, but maybe they're just taking it easy right now. You see Kasinger, he's not taking it easy, and we know that from him in this Lite Series. He wants to go to the front, and he wants it now, and that's what he's doing. He's trying to take that lead away from Casey Sprinkle. Evan Carlbon's been fouled back to 4th position, 2nd on the bottom. But yeah, we haven't seen a 3-wide, an intentional 3-wide happen yet, and it will happen at some point. Look at him in the quad oval right here. It's a very awkward kind of front straightaway, if you can even call it that, because it's 2 more left turns, and they're so sharp that you always see people wash up the track, and that can very easily lead to more incidents later on in this.
Yeah, the bottom starts to roll back, and oh man, you can see the truck's already starting to wash up, and once this tire wear starts to go, that middle lane is very, very, is going to get very tight. They're going to wash up towards the wall and see how they're able to handle it back where James Waring is, towards that middle part of the pack where the dirty air is just so strong.
Yeah, absolutely. The bottom lane is preferred here. You usually see people fight for that. It's the shorter way around, yes, but it's also the tire-saving way down there for whatever reason that might be. Oh, Brian Hennings and Axel Smith getting real close to each other right there. Brian wanted to go under Axel, and he made it work, but almost turning Axel in the process in that 97. Kasinger still leading the top. And Hilkowitz almost hooking him right there going into 1. Almost got him clear, but just not close enough right there. Sprinkle's going to take it out of 2.
Yeah, Brian Hennings there with the little rattle his cage move, little bump and run action at 180 miles an hour in the trucks. They were able to keep it together, but you're going to see the stack-ups start to really happen here on the bottom lane, because you're going to have people on their own agenda trying to save tires, and that bottom is really falling back right now.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a stack-up. That's Wyatt Gray in the back, and that Skittles number 18 through the trial. Well, big stack-up happened right there. Lots of shuffling around, but they made it work. little bit of separation now in this group. There's only 3 cars up front that are actually up top. Chase Mastretta in the back with a big move to the bottom under Brian Hennings. But now there's Ron Morris right there, who's back in the thick of things, trying to get back in this top 10. He's already there. He's just trying to further his position right now. How about Axel Smith in that 97, though? He had a chance at winning the next-gen race at Daytona. We had a couple of races back. Out of turn 4, that was all his, and unfortunately, it was taken away from him right there at the end. But he's been improving massively ever since he joined the money racing community, and here he is having a great run in the top 10 so far.
Yeah, another one of those. Tanner Kasinger, we've said it each week. He's had great runs towards the beginning and just kind of dwindles out towards the end. But hopefully this new track, this new combo that we're running can maybe offer him up some opportunity to come out here, get a win, get a podium. Him and Casey Sprinkle just doing a great job. Class of the field, top and bottom lines.
Yeah, and that top lane's kind of getting a little bit more momentum, a little more help right there as Smith, Waring, and Nick Sipple have made their way back to the back bumper of Colton Salick. Kasinger's finally going to get clear down to the bottom, and that's going to help Sean Hilkowitz get some clean air to his nose. Hopefully Hilkowitz, who's had a very rough run in the Lite Series so far, none of which is by his own doing, just getting caught up in bad luck race after race. Here he is in P2. He's going to have a look at the lead over Tanner Kasinger. Maybe coming out too. He's riding really, really high, but he's got one of the best pushers in the game, Colton Salick, behind him. Yeah,
Colton Salick doing a great job with Hilkowitz there on the top side, and like you said, Hilkowitz none to his own. Has just been a part of bad lucks, and it started towards a little bit of contact between James Waring back there, one on the outside wall. They're going to drag it 3 wide through the quad oval, but Hilkowitz was in that early accident where he got into Herbert, but looks like his nose is clean. He's doing a great job there on the high side.
Yeah, we saw a little contact between James Waring and Nick Sipple right there, and that cost Nick Sipple all of his track position. James Waring got away scot-free. He's still 4th on the outside, but Nick Sipple definitely taking a loss on that one. That outside line right now is kind of dying out. Hilkowitz is losing his run, allowing the bottom 3 of Kasinger, Sprinkle, and Carlbahn to clear right here. But none of them want to go up. You know, they're just sitting there kind of saving. They know they're in a very good position right now. Just sit there and save your tires for a little bit. Hilkowitz gets split. He's going to end up in the wall.
The outside wall.
Yeah, he got split by Colton Salick. They save it, though. He's trying to file in front of Mark Vondel, and Vondel does not let him have it, but now he's still going to be in the second lane. Maybe a little bit more going on up here. Chase Mastretta taking James Waring through the middle. Does a good job of that. Look at Chase working his way through this field. Brian Hennings trying to avoid the blinking Axel Smith now on that bottom. That's going to be detrimental to Axel and probably anyone near him. That blinking problem that he's having right now. Hopefully he can get that sorted out.
Yeah, lap car is going to go to the wall here, just talking over some race control duties. Seeing Axel Smith blinking there, but as they approach this lap, we'll see how they navigate it with this tight racetrack.
Yeah, that top lane isn't dead yet. They're still there, as Teresa Spiker is going to go another lap down. Really
almost
tight
turned down
right
into
there.
the...
Oh, still struggling right there. They're all going to get by her okay.
4 wide behind her.
Yeah, so, 5 wide almost, with Michael Triscaro and David Flanagan in the back. Lots going on right here. They're still 3 wide. They're trying to work it out. Flanagan going to get in behind Michael Triscaro. Christopher Melton, Dalton Steele, lots of big names just sitting at the back right now, but maybe not sitting back there by their own doing, but they just want to, that's where they are right now. Just lots of big names that we got to see if they're going to work their way through the field.
One slow car on the apron. Teresa Sparker, she's sideways, stays on the apron though. Kind of a moving chicane out there to get by all these lap cars, but she will get away from all of the cars at that point. She'll clear back up onto the track. Maybe go into pit road here. No, she'll clear back up onto the track. 2 laps down. But again, Casey just doing a great job up front with Tanner on that top side. Evan Carbon doing a great job on the top side.
Yeah, Tanner Kasinger decided he didn't want to be on the bottom anymore. He's going to hop up in front of Austin Green and see if they can go back to the lead of this thing. Kasinger very aggressive very early, no surprise there. Mark Vondel a lap ago looked like he was getting very loose in the tri-oval. So tire wear might start becoming a thing right here. There's Vondel in the 59 again, kind of getting a little loose right here, darting it all around in that top lane. that could start becoming a factor. I mean, we're getting a good green flag run in right now. We're almost a third of the way through the race. This pack is back to 2x2. There are like 2 pack. Wow, Chase Mastretta. Wow, what a move to the bottom. Darting in behind Axel Smith and in front of Colton Salem. He definitely didn't want to be on that top lane anymore. He went all the way to the bottom. Almost took himself out in the process.
Did not want to be on that top lane, but we got good 2x2 action here all throughout this top 20, almost 30 trucks. Very impressive racing we've got going on up front, led by Tanner and Casey. They'll approach another lap car here. Fielder, they're about a straightaway away from him when they have to navigate that. But, you know, we don't have to talk too much about lap cars at Talladega and Daytona. We do it often in those cars, but man, you have to talk about it here at Atlanta because it is tight racing.
It's tight racing, and like we said, it's very short track for a super speedway and very narrow. Nowhere to hide at all. Brian Hennig's made his way up to the top 5 now, pushing Austin Green. Kasinger was able to clear down. But yeah, it's very narrow. 3 wide is possible for sure. 4 wide, maybe a bit of a stretch. Considering just it's kind of a little, it's not a very bumpy track, but there's almost like a bumpy feel to it. It's just you're unstable the whole time. Especially on worn-out tires, which these guys are, they're wearing them out right now. You see Ron Morris getting a little loose as well. Ooh, look at the back, Quentin Steinbach. There's 2 packs right here. They are still somewhat connected. It's being led by Chris Walker in the 23. They got to put some work in. They're starting to lose that pack.
And now you've seen a little bit of separation between the main pack after a little bit of a mix-up between Nick Simple. Now it separates the big pack that had about 30 trucks in it, and they're going to have to get single-filed out to get rolling with it, and Triscaro's going to have to try and get up there and lead. He's trying to make his way forward to try and get to this lead pack for the green flag stop.
Yeah, Austin Green right here is getting pushed to the lead by Brian Hennings at 74, putting a good bit of work in to try and get Austin up there in the lead. And yeah, like you said, 2 distinct packs right now, and this is very, very interesting. So, this whole field is not packed together. That means less risk of an accident, for one. But also, just, I mean, what happens, you know, is just one little mistake from, like, Nick Sipple and James Waring that separated the field to begin with, and now there's just a whole nother separation. We could have a lot of separate little packs kind of form up. If this comes to a green flag pit stop, that's when this is really going to get turned upside down. Because not only of the new pit road could cause mistakes, and people are going to have to deal with that adversity. Mark Vondel's in the wall, in the back. He's still
in the outside
wall.
wall. Still in the outside wall, no caution though.
Yeah, just him, and he's got a lot of damage on his number 59 car. He's in the middle of the track right here, and Richard Elliott nowhere to go in that 0-2. Vondel just can't steer. You see him still hitting the wall. That's a shame for Mark Vondel. He's going to probably have to come in and get that fixed ASAP. But back up front is still Austin Green and Tanner Kasinger. But as I was saying, green flag pit stops, we're going to have a bunch of different little packs form up. That's just naturally what's going to happen. So we'll see which one can persevere, work together the best, push the hardest, and be the most consistent. Austin Green's going to clear down in front of Tanner Kasinger, leaving Brian Hennings almost all by himself. Ron Morris is trying to get there, but he's way far off of Brian's back bumper, heading out at 2.
Austin Green doing a great job there, controlling the lines on the bottom. Mark Vondel looks like he's going to pull down pit road. He's going to get his truck repaired off here.
Getting real loose up front right now. Look at Ron Morris in the 76 trying to save it, and he did. Good job by him, but that's just killing Brian Hennings up there. All by himself on that outside, trying to make something work. Tire wear is getting to these guys. We're seeing more and more guys start getting loose. Ron Morris made his move to the bottom. Man. Oh, Chase Mastretta might have just hooked him, and there it is. The yellow flag will come out. Tucker McClendon. Ron Morris, Dave Flanagan wheeling it through there, trying to miss it. And we saw it. Ron Morris just outside the back of your screen, clearing down in front of what I believe was Chase Mastretta. And that might be what just caused this. Chase just simply not lifting for him. We're going to have to take a look at it. That was a pretty substantial accident right here, so we need to find Ron Morris. Actually, we'll go up to Chase Mastretta first, see if this was indeed him. So Ron Morris, he was very loose in the trial when we saw that, And he's still loose in the corner right here on that top lane. Let's see if we can get a better view. Here we go. So he's going to turn down in front of Chase Mastretta. And it looks like... Oh, there wasn't even any contact between them. Morris is just extremely loose. Overcorrects it himself into the wall in front of Brock Westmoreland. Brock might get a little bit of damage out of this. Then further back, Tucker McClendon in that bright orange 00, nowhere to go. T-bones Ron Morris. Josh McCullough gets taken out as well in that number 5. There's James Wagner in the 30, locking the brakes up, trying to miss it. He's going to contact Ron Morris as well. I think we saw Dalton Steele in the back was also getting a little piece of this. There he is in the 41. Josh McCullough's coming back up the racetrack. And Steele, the evasive action to try and miss him, and he just can't do it in time. He's going to rear end Josh McCullough, spin him out again. So yeah, this took out quite a few guys right here. And all that talk we were just doing about the green flag pit stop and anything like that, that's not totally out the window. But at least for this run, it is out the window, unfortunately, with Ron Morris losing it on that top side coming out of 2.
Oh, man, and another brain fart there. Austin Green. Looks like he is going to take an ELO.
Yeah, that's going to be catching a lot of guys off guard for sure, and even some of the best like Austin Green, a winner in this series this season. Now look at Ron Morris, just that overcorrection, that slap into the wall, and then bam, McClendon, McCullough, Wagner, and it just continues. Look at Dave Flanagan just drifting it through there. Great job by him and the majority of the rest of the field back here to miss that. There's Josh McCullough in reverse down there on the apron. Lots of damage to the nose of his car, a little bit of rear damage to him as well. But yeah, that's that tire wear started getting to the people out here on the track, and that was pretty obvious. Considering, I mean, we kind of saw it coming with what was going on with Morris and Vondell. We saw Vondell get loose, hit the wall, and then Morris, tires just a little too overworked for him, causing him to overcorrect into the wall out of turn 2 and cause our first big accident of the night. But we did cover a lot of ground right there. We're on lap 37. We're almost at halfway. I'm impressed with the field so far. It's been relatively clean up to this point. Tanner Kasinger and Casey Sprinkle are going to be the leaders on this restart, followed by Brian Hennings, Evan Carlbon, Axel Smith, Chase Mastretta, Tyler Vickery, Brock Westmoreland, Colton Salick, and Steve Sizemore will round out the top 10. So now we try it again. Sounds like I've used that phrase a lot during this season, but like I was saying, only 2 cautions so far, and that's pretty good considering how some of the other races have gone. Maybe it's just because of the track, a little bit of different skill set, who knows. But Kasinger is going to lead them to the restart zone, and he's going to launch with a little bit of a shove from Brian Hennings. He's going to be well clear right here of Casey Sprinkle. Chase Mastretta immediately takes advantage of the poor restart from Tyler Vickery, and he's going to hop down to the bottom right here. Coming out of 2, Casey Sprinkle just has zero help on that outside line, but he's getting a little bit of a run by himself right there. Carlbon, ooh, a little bit of contact close between Carlbon and Mastretta. Carlbon's going to get split through the middle 3 wide by Tyler Vickery and Brock Westmoreland, but Chris Walker, his Jack Shack teammate, is going to come to his aid coming out of
3 wide in the 3rd row there. Really tight race in between. Carlbon, Vickery going to give some room here for Salick and Carlbon there on the bottom and middle lines, but you see still 2 wide. Here comes Vickery. Brock lets him down in line. We're back to 2 wide action here.
Yep, they finally sorted that part out. Carlbon's going to take up shop 3rd behind Axel Smith. Leading that outside line is Casey Sprinkle still. So Carlbon got out of that pretty okay. I don't know if there was some contact between him and Chase Mastretta potentially, just a little miscommunication, trying to go for the same bit of the racetrack. But at the end of the day, they sorted it out, and that's what we'd like to see. Casey Sprinkle getting pushed to the lead right here by Axel Smith, but he's not going to have the opportunity to clear. David Flanagan riding real high in that 3rd lane. looking like he kind of wants to try and split his teammate, Chris Walker, and he did it. He's leading that third lane. He's trying to go places. We'll see if Dawson Wise as well. He's going to go with him. So James Waring taking a look as well. So here comes that intentional 3-wide racing by David Flanagan, and he's doing great up there. Oh, James Waring with a big tank slap against the wall.
I mean, he destroyed the wall.
He
Causes
absolutely.
a huge check up towards the middle. I don't know how his truck is still going straight. Whoa, one almost wrecking off a pit road. Oh my gosh.
That's Christopher Melton, it looked like, in the back of potentially Dalton Steele, almost spinning out of pit road. Lots going on here. James Waring slapped that truck against the wall, and he's still up to speed, like Baker said. He's still in the pack, so James Waring gets out of that okay. Tanner Kasinger up front gets split 3 wide by Axel Smith, who now leads that second line. Kasinger is going to get sent all the way to the back, and that is not going to make him happy. He's going to try to do everything he can to work his way back up to the front of the field. And that 3 wide definitely didn't last long for the likes of David Flanagan and Dawson Wise. Flanagan went back down to the bottom. You see him under Austin Green right there. Kasinger still stuck up top.
All the way to the back.
Yeah.
Right around that halfway point like we talked about.
Yeah, and he just, nobody's cutting him a break. He's going literally all the way to the back of the field. But back up front, Brian Hennings takes the lead. Evan Carlbon in P2. Chase Mastretta having a good run so far in P3. And Axel Smith still leading that outside. Needing a little bit more help from Casey Sprinkle right there if he wants to compete heading into 3.
Axel Smith leading that top side. He had a little bit of connection issues, but Brian Hennings doing a great job of wrapping the bottom here. It sounds like they're talking about him jumping around a little bit. That wobble netcode looks good on the broadcast, but when you're inside the car kind of jumps around and makes it tough for the car behind to push.
Yeah, you don't want to see that. There are a lot of guys that do have that issue. I mean, Cody Nagel's just to name one. He has that issue quite often. It just depends on the connection and the relationship between two people's connections and if it wants to cooperate or not. Chase Mastretta has that issue often as well. But, I mean, right now, those two guys with 2 of the biggest connection issues in general, they're in the top 5 right now. Axel Smith and Mastretta doing a great job, and Casey Sprinkle's doing a good job keeping Axel up there, dealing with the adversity of his car wobbling around in front of him. So good job on them.
Doing a good job there on the top side with Vickery in line as well. Brock Westmoreland trying to look 3, trying to peek out. He was nice to him before. Will he still be nice to him throughout the rest of this run? We'll wait to see. But great 2-wide action all the way through as they come through the quad oval to complete lap 46.
Yeah, halfway through the race now, and we keep seeing these guys drift up in the tri-oval, and that's gonna cause problems because if they drift up, someone's probably behind them wanting to take that from them in that middle and hang them out, just like Tanner Kasinger got hung out, who is back in 24th position right now, trying to find his way back. It looks like he's starting to, because he was further back than that, and he's trying to find his way back right now. But here we see him again. Look at him just spread out all the way from the bottom up to the wall, even though it's still just too wide. It's such a weird thing to look at, how they just spread out right there. But they're kind of being calm right now. We don't see anyone trying to force it 3 wide again. Maybe Richard Elliott in the back. Looks like he either got pushed out or did that on purpose. But Wyatt Gray under him.
Pushed out of line. That's Steve Sizemore coming back.
He's coming back up the track. Elliott's in the wall. Sizemore is going to save it, but now he's in that pit commit line. That could be a penalty for Steve Sizemore. I'm not sure. But back up front, look at Axel Smith. Almost taking the lead from Brian Hennings right there, heading into 1. Still just doesn't have the help from Casey Sprinkle that he needs, and that could very well be the cause of that being the netcode and the wobbling his truck is doing in front of Casey Sprinkle. But they're keeping it clean up front, but it's just in that middle of the pack, little middle of the road right there, it's getting a little bit hairy.
As they come up on 2 lap cars, that is Teresa and Greg Spiker. That will be both subsequently going a lap or another lap down in Teresa's case. But they are putting it up towards the wall, keeping it out of harm's way, doing a great job, letting the leaders get past and race this one out.
Yeah, they are, and the field's lucky they didn't contact Casey Sprinkle and Evan Carlbon. Sprinkle gets shut out. Looks like Greg Spiker was also rubbing the wall in the back, but he's going to be okay. Tyler Vickery takes advantage of that contact between Carlbon and Sprinkle. He's going to now be the lead pusher to Axel Smith.
Oh man, and Sprinkle just shut the door on Dawson Weiss, and Weiss cut him a break. He did not have to.
Yeah, look at David Flanagan in the back. He's still just hanging back there, but trying to make his moves. He's going to move up to that top lane now. We'll see if he wants to take it three wide
man,
once
they're trying
again.
to rip towards the middle. Sorry to cut you off, but Teresa Spiker getting close with James Waring.
So much going on. Ooh, Josh Jambroni in the 49 getting real loose. Keeps it going straight, just entering one right there. Lots of looseness going on right now, just like we saw last time. We saw how that went last time. It didn't go well. There's James Wagner going a lap down under the apron on the bottom. His race is not going the way he wanted. Quentin Steinbach in the 22's made his way to the top 10. How about that? That mellow yellow machine all the way up to the top 10. He was in the back earlier. Here he is fighting for that top 10 position, but he got a little bit loose in that last corner, and there he is tight right there. Look at him almost hitting Wyatt Gray. We're still 3 wide. Dejan Monte getting into the wall in the 07. Oh, Austin Green almost getting spun out. He saved it. Sean Hilkowitz making his way back up here in the Jimmy Johnson 48. Wow, okay, lots starting to develop right here, and it's all going to lead to something.
Oh, really tight on the outside. That was DeJounte with Michael Triscaro there on the bottom side. I think I was going to sail it towards the back, trying to avoid it.
So hard to keep eyes on, so much going on, all these separate packs going on right now. But Brian Hennings is pushed clear by Evan Carl. Bonnie's still going to stick to that bottom. Look at Wyatt Gray hopping in front of Casey Sprinkle. He wants to save his tires a little bit more, give up maybe a little bit of track position in doing so, but he wants to conserve those tires. Let's take a look at this backpack back here. There's kind of single file. There's Michael Triscaro slowly working his way back through the field. Chris Walker taking it up high in front of him. Austin Green got shuffled out like we saw, managed to save it. There's David Sheets in the 06, kind of just hanging around. So is Sean Corbett. And there's lots of disorganization going on behind them. There's just, there are cars all over the place back there. But up front, still just 2x2 heading out of 4.
Yeah, 2x2 out of 4. No lap cars really in front of them. They got about half a track till they get there. Chase Mastretta below the... Sorry, I had to give Chase a warning. Going below the double red line with all 4 tires. If it happens again, probably going to be a drive-through. But, you know, I'm not really going to jinx it. But, we've had 2 of our longest green flag runs in PGR Lite history in these 2 races. We had about a 30-lap run from lap 8 to 36, and now we've had a green flag run from 38 to 55. Very good going on here.
Yeah, it's very refreshing, if I can be honest, to see this in the Lite Series. These guys want to race clean this week, and so far they've done a great job. We're almost 2/3 the way through. This is not at all how I expected this race to go, and it is nice to see how well it has gone so far, even though we do still have a lot of damaged trucks and guys out of the race, unfortunately, Tucker McClendon being one of them after that last caution. But yeah, 2 cautions so far has been so clean, and this racing is still getting a little bit antsy up front. We're gonna have another one. I feel like that's a guarantee, but so far clean and green. Brian Hennings and Axel Smith still just leading both lines. Not much changing up front position wise, but you can tell the tires are starting to get to some of these guys.
Tires starting to get to them. You can see the pace starting to fall off. You don't really talk about lap times much, but now you can start talking about them. They're starting at about the 29.7 ranges, falling off. We're about 4/10 off in the last 20 laps. So definitely some fall off happening right now. Residual fall off. 4/10 is pretty big for a super speedway. So if you think you can flip the strategy, have a couple draft partners to get in with you, get some tires and get around this track for the last 30 laps, you can go out there and win a race.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You just need those tires under your car. Look at David Flanagan work his way into the top 10 now. There is shuffling going on in the backpack. Oh, he's going to take it to the 3rd on Josh Jambroni, and Chris Walker's teammate just isn't there to really help him yet, even if he wants to. He's kind of pinned up there right now. He's staying where he is, but if he has the tires to do that, which he very well could, considering he was in the back kind of saving and biding his time, and he's kind of just driving around some of these guys by himself. He's clear Josh Jambroni, now working on Brock Westmoreland in the 4.
Yeah, it's something I watched with the Next Gen race the first time they came to Atlanta during the night race. Martin Truex Jr., before it was rain-shortened race, was able to really make that 3rd line work. As you see Vickery starting to block both lanes. Oh, big wreck!
There it is. There's the field. The entire field. David Flanagan on his side upside down and rolling in turn number 1. Josh Jambroni with some nose damage. David Sheets, Brock Westmoreland. Michael Wingo is still wrecking back here. Joey Galati getting a little bit of a hit as well. David Sheets trying to right his car. Oh, there's Ambrose Knable spinning out in front of Galati. Galati misses him. There's the big one. I think we can definitely say for sure that that was the big one. And we saw David Flanagan on his roof. He had to tow his car, so his night... Oh, he did not have to tow. He just blinked out momentarily, but lots of damage on that car. Oh, yeah, look at that right front wheel for David Flanagan. His race will be over. But luckily for him, he is a winner in the series already, so he is locked into the championship. But tons of damage for Flanagan at 31. Let's see what we can get a glimpse at right here. Oh, wow. There's just... Okay. This originated from the middle, it looks like, with Josh Jambroni in the 49 car. Is going to come down the racetrack and wipe Colton Salick out. Now, Colton was riding a little bit high in that number 9. But they just come together up into Brock Westmoreland, David Flanagan. Up on that third, nowhere to go. Chris Walker gets a piece of it. He's going to hit Nick Sipple. And then there's just the stack-ups behind. And then the coming together of Westmoreland and Flanagan sends Flanagan in 31 on his side. Riding on the hood of Brock Westmoreland. He's going to roll it over. Land back on all fours. And then David Sheets getting hit by Michael Wingo in the back. There's Edward Fiedler trying to make his way through it. James Waring net coating through David Flanagan right there. There's Tanner Kastner at 88, got sent all the way to the back. Luckily, he managed to miss this one. Get a couple more angles of this one. There it is. Bam. Big hits into the wall, and Flanagan gets sent up and over. Rolling the truck, so that'll be our first flip on the night. You don't usually see that at a place like Atlanta, but he managed to do it. And the rest of the field getting caught up in it as well. Let's take it back and get a quick onboard from David Flanagan, who was just blindsided by this instant thunder. There he is, into the wall, and then just gets pushed up and over by Westmoreland and Salick. There's Sheets and Wingo, and look at the steering on Flanagan. That wheel is definitely not facing straight for David Flanagan. Like we said, his race will be done. Get a couple more looks at this real quick. Whole field right there. You see it start flying apart. Everyone trying to miss. There's Richard Elliott getting a little contact as well, but luckily manages to get away okay with no damage. So there it is, the first big one of the night. There's David Flanagan in the pits. His race will be over. There's Ron Morris getting some damage fixed. Josh Jambroni in the back as well. The leader of the race is still Brian Hennings, and now Chase Mastretta will be the leader of the outside line. Evan Carlbon behind him, been up front this entire race. Just the best race that Carlbon's had so far in the Lite Series. Good to see him having that. Honestly, probably the same could be said for Chase Mastretta. Right now sitting in P2 and P3. Wyatt Gray's made his way up to 4th. Tyler Vickery still sits in 5th. Nick Sipple 6th. Casey Sprinkle 7th. Austin Green in 8th. Chris Melton in 9th. And Sean Hilkowitz in the top 10. And this field's starting to get...
You don't have to get any pit stops now. Sorry to interrupt you again, but this is the run to the end here. Who can save the tires? Who can get it done here at the end of this race?
Yep, no more pit stops for this one, and this is where the intensity will be ramped up. You will start to see the 3 wide. Hey, look at the number 8 back there, that black truck right there of Stephen Miles. Where has he been the whole race? He has been sitting in the back. The driver for Nightmare Esports has found his way just outside the top 10 with that big crash, and he's someone to watch out for coming to the closing stage of this one. Brian Hennings and Chase Mastretta. Early jump from Brian Hennings on Mastretta. Carlbon not there to really assist him yet, but then again, Mastretta has no help up top heading into 1.
Oh, really spread out. So it's probably the most spread out start we've had all night here in the PGR Lite Series. Bottom side starting.
Oh, Mastretta gets hooked by Tyler Vickery. Out of turn 2, Mastretta is not going to get hit. It looks like he's going to get, of course, by right there at the end by Joey Galati, and they're still wrecking. That's unnecessary. I hate to be so blunt with what I just saw, but that was completely unnecessary by some of the guys in the back of the field. See, Mastretta, I mean, he was away from it just fine, and then he just gets killed so long after the wreck. His damage isn't bad, but you know he's not going to be best pleased with it because that was so avoidable. We need to go back and see what went on right here. We saw Mastretta get hooked by Wyatt Gray coming out of turn 2. He's in the outside. Looks like Mastretta's trying to clear down in front of him. Just wasn't clear. Maybe. Not really sure what's going on right there with Chase Mastretta. Gets hooked by Wyatt Gray, and then Vickery gets hooked by Sipple. And then the rest of the field trying to avoid. And bam, Greg Spiker. Oh, this happened way after the wreck right there. Somehow skipped over. There's James Waring, Sean Corbett getting spun in the 45. But this did happen further up the track as well, with Tyler Vickery and a few other guys getting taken out in this one. We'll take a look at Vickery. In real speed, there he is, getting that hook from Nick Sipple. Spinning out, he's okay, then Sipple kind of rear ends him a little bit, and then it just continues. There's Ambrose Knable, Dawson Wise, Chris Walker. This was a bad one for the Jack Shack. There's Quentin Steinbach in 22 getting into it with Melton. The top of your screen, there's Edward Fiedler doing his best to get around it. But we need to take a look at what's happened to Chase Mastretta, because I know I was pretty not very candid about what I just saw right there, but I mean, there's sometimes, you know, it's like just ARCA breaking. Like, why are we doing it? And that's what we just saw right here. I'm not singling out Joey Galati by any means, but this is just like, why are we still speeding into the crash like this? Him and Quentin Steinbach. That kills Joey Galati's race. Like, there's a wreck in front, and it's just people not checking up for it, and you hate to see it because it can not only end someone else's race, but yours at the same time. It's just crazy to me, Baker, but that's what we had right there.
Yeah, 100%. Joey Galati gonna get a UL there for market breaking.
Yeah, and that's probably one that needed to happen because I mean you don't want to see that. Here's a view on the wall on the backstretch. There's Vickery getting hit. It continued into turn 3. Look at lots of contact in the back. There's still more. It wasn't even Galati either. I mean, there's some more stuff going on at the back. It's just unnecessary, and there's no other word for it. It's kind of frustrating to see it sometimes. Just, well, why? It just kind of makes you speechless, but get one more look at this before we take it back live. There's Mastretta, and then in the back, look at these guys just, oh, wow. There's Spiker, where?
I mean, it's not even Dawson towards the back half of that. Close calls with him.
Well, let's take a look at Dawson Wise since he mentioned it. He is on the brakes, to be fair. Oh, yeah, not much he could do in that one, but yeah, just inexcusable, honestly. Like, that's, I have no words for that, but we'll take it back live and see what the front of the field looks like now. It's going to be Brian Hennings and Evan Carlbon once again leading it. Wyatt Gray, Casey Sprinkle, Austin Green, Sean Hilkowitz, Stephen Miles, Tanner Kasinger back into the top 10. How about that for the 88? Richard Elliott, and then Axel Smith. We'll try it again. We're afraid the rash of cautions could start now that there's no pit stops, and so far it has, but hopefully it will not continue. They're into the box. Hennings and Gray get a little bit of a stack up right there. But they get away okay. But now the outside, that's about as organized as the top side's been for any restart so far in this race. Carlbon getting a good push from Casey Sprinkle, and Sean Hilkowitz had a good start as well, headed out of 2.
Single file there on the bottom side for about the first 3 or 4 trucks, but big move up to the top side by Brian Hennings. Going to move back down to the bottom. That's what we talk about, managing the lines, managing the runs. Doesn't have to do with temps, just has to do with keeping the line together. Oh, one wrecking out back.
There's the yellow flag out once again. It looks like Nick Sipple spins it out, but Oh, Michael Wingo involved as well, further behind this. There's Ambrose Knable, James Wagner, they got through okay. So this one looked like a small kind of accident right here. Ooh, okay, So this originates with Michael Wingo in that Goodwrench Silverado. This is way in the back of the pack right here. He's on top of Quentin Steinbach. Steinbach's going to clear him just fine. Yep, just straight up loses it on that outside. Herbert in the 87, nowhere to go. Sipple trying his best to get around it, and he does. So this looks like it might just involve Wingo potentially. It looks like that's the case. We'll take it up to Sipple, who, after he yanked it back off the wall, spins it out, trying to save it. But I only see 2 cars involved here, Baker, so we got away pretty good from this one.
Yeah, just single car spin, and then you saw the other car there getting up into the wall, gets a little bit loose.
Yeah, Sipple does a good job saving his truck in that 75. Saw that. Nobody else getting involved in this one. No ARCA braking in this one, which is a blessed relief. Another quick couple shots of this. I want to grab an interview before the end of this race. Look, here's Sipple saving that car, working that wheel. Get a little bit of hit with the wall right there, but looks like no damage for Nick Sipple. Michael Wingo, the same could not be said for him. He does have a good bit of damage on his race car. But let's see if we can grab a quick interview before we go back green here. See if we can find somebody to talk to real quick. Let's get a word with Brian Hennings, the leader of the race right now. Brian Hennings, Landon and Baker in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen?
So this has been an interesting race so far. So it went pretty clean and green for a while, and now the cautions are starting to fly. But you're the leader of the race, so how are you feeling?
Pretty good. I just hope I can stay here. Just, depends on how the restart goes. Seems like the bottom line seems to be doing better. Yeah, I just heard Baker call out. We had one of the longest PGR green flag runs of 30 laps. So, yeah, I just hope we can put the 74 in victory lane, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, 20 laps to go here, and you will be taking it, hopefully, to the house for you. You've had some good runs in the series so far, maybe a little bit of bad luck through the way. But right now, you're looking pretty good. You and Carl Bond and Casey Sprinkle have honestly been the 3 dominators of this one so far. So how do you feel about Carl Bond and Sprinkle kind of being your biggest threats right here so far?
I really just think whoever's probably going to get the bottom line will do good, and then it's just going to depend on that last lap or so if that top line can make a run, because that can happen. So just have to wait to see how it plays out. Hope that I put it in the right spot.
Yes, sir. That is Brian Hennings, your leader of the race. We'll be coming to 19 laps to go when we restart this one. Look how whittled down the field has become. You can see it just on this backstretch view. It's just getting less and less and less. And sure, there's probably some guys fixing damage, but right now I'm only seeing 25 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, it looks like we've got
23 actually.
23 cars on the lead lap. Brock and Dawson pretty killed already. Ambrose as well. Nick Simple taking a little bit of damage. Trasquero back in 14th. He's probably the first car on the freshest tires going to be looking to go forward.
Yep, 19 laps to go this time by for Brian Hennings, and Wyatt Gray, who's found his way to P2. An early jump once again for Brian, and a good connection on the bottom with him and Carl Bond and Sprinkle. Hilkowitz now finds himself 4th in line on the bottom, but has recovered well. There's Stephen Miles in the 8 dropping to the bottom as well. Lots of guys just want that bottom lane. They don't want any part of that top, and that just killed Wyatt Gray. He restarted 2nd. He's all the way back to 5th. Austin Green getting dragged back there with him, but Hilkowitz had a look at hopping up, and he's going to. How about this? Sean Hilkowitz involved in the first caution of the night, trying to fight his way up to the lead of this thing. He's got Wyatt Gray, another one of the best guys in this series, and a very solid pusher behind him as well as Austin Green. Tanner Kasinger, here he is on that top line. What a surprise. Trying to work their way up to the front in the middle of 1 and 2.
And you see Brian Hennings doing a great job there on the bottom. Evan Carlbon doing a great job pushing him. Casey Sprinkle making his way back up to the front, trying to get out to the lead, but there he is, Stephen Miles. We were waiting for it, waiting to call his name. He was patient all race, stayed towards the back, knew that the wrecks were going to happen, and is starting to make his way up towards the front here.
Yeah, there he is, fourth on the bottom. Ooh, Nick Sipple in the back, almost tagging the wall. Managed to miss it, though, so good on him. Hilkowitz trying to get a look at that lead with that push from the 18 of Wyatt Gray. How about that? Hilkowitz, he might have a look at it, but like Brian alluded to in his interview, the bottom's kind of dominant. It usually always is, and you need some of the absolute best pushing and best coordination on that top to make it work. And right now it is. Brian drifts up a little high right there. I'm wondering if he's starting to get a little tire wear potentially under his truck. But now that outside, they're just kind of hanging where they are. It's just textbook what we've seen this whole race so far. The outside getting there, but not being able to clear for the most part.
As they cover Michael Wingo here all the way on the apron. They're going to go 2 by 2. They're going to direct him to go down pit lane. He will go down pit lane. Brian Henning still leading on that bottom line, giving a good push from Evan Carborn. But Hilkowitz, man, again, back up towards the front. Very impressive, getting pushed by Wyatt Gray with Stephen Miles, Austin Green in tow. Brock Westmoreland getting out of the way. But,
Hilkowitz is...
back up to the wall there.
Oh, no! There goes Hilkowitz. And more contact in the back, but no more wrecking. And what a shame for Sean Hilkowitz. We have to stop talking about people.
This is the worst commentator's curse I've ever seen in PGR history. That was on the dot.
I feel terrible. I mean, it happens every time. I swear it's something with me. Every broadcast I do, I end up cursing the guy the very next lap. I mean, it happened to Chase Mastretta earlier in the race, too. Oh, look at the block Casey Sprinkle just put on Axel Smith for no reason because Sprinkle... Oh, contact! Carl Pond!
Up the track!
Oh, it's getting real antsy up here. These guys got a little spread out with what happened to Hilkowitz, and now they're starting to form back together, getting some big runs. That'll result in big pushes and big moves. Michael Triscaro's made his way up here with a look at the top 10.
Big push. They're 3 wide now. Offset.
Oh, no way. Oh, we're wrecking again. Nick Sipple. And that's a big one. Sizemore. Oh, Triscaro again.
Big slap on the...
I'm at a loss.
You can't help but laugh. We just can't mention names, to be honest. We're just gonna have to mention car numbers. It never ceases to amaze me.
There is no way that there were 2 in a row like that. That's insane. Well, a lot just happened right here. Let's take you through it. Triscaro's already in the process of getting crashed right here. On that outside line, there's Nick Sipple under him. He's 3 wide. With Sipple and Corbett. And then Sipple, Corbett, netcode. It looked like between Corbett and Sipple. Sends Sipple into Triscaro. Hooks him into the wall. And he got away okay, but then it continued further down. By Sipple getting spun by Josh McCullough, and then, oh, wow. You can't help but laugh. I mean, Michael Triscaro just getting dogged towards the end of it. That's crazy.
Very unfortunate.
Yes, it is absolutely unfortunate, but that's what happened with Triscaro, and we'll take a look at Nick Sipple, who, I don't know what's going on between him and Josh McCullough right here. Josh is just in his bumper.
I think Josh just doesn't have much time to really check up for what all happened there. That's just part of the racing. Whenever the wreck starts to happen, trying to get out of it and isn't able to make it work.
Yep, that spins Sipple out. Sipple gets his revenge and slaps him to the wall, and then Steve Sizemore, nowhere to go. T-bones Nick Sipple. Triscaro, as we saw, coming back down the racetrack in front of Jonathan Herbert after what happened to him. And then just crazy turn of events here. Get a few more angles of this to see if we can get another interview potentially. Back this up a little bit more. Oh, yeah. Massive. Look at it. Just how it shot Sipple up into Triscaro. Then you get spun, hit, just get her on the bottom. Just, wow. We got a few good laps in right there, and just some unfortunate netcode, which honestly I don't think we've seen a lot of netcode so far in this race, which is nice, but it comes at one of the worst times for guys like Mike and Nick Sipple.
Yeah, tough for Mike too, because I don't know if he's going to be able to race next week. He's got the championship game, Ohio State versus Notre Dame. It's going to be my two teammates hating each other for the next week. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to make the race. We may push it back 30 minutes just to see if he can make it, because I think the kickoff is at 7 or 7:30. It'll be close, but we'll see.
Well, at least that's the good news for Mike. At least the racing side, especially in the Lite Series, has not been going his way recently, but his Buckeyes are in the championship game, so he has that to look forward to, but the field just keeps getting smaller. Like it looks like 12 cars are left in this thing. There's more than 12, but it just
There's still 20 on the lead lap.
20 on the lead lap. We had 40 cars start this race. So many are out in the pits. Yeah, wow. So we're going to restart with 10 laps to go, 9 laps to go, but with 20 cars on the lead lap. Brian Hennings and Wyatt Gray, exactly what it looked like last restart, but now Tanner Kasinger's made his way back up to P4 in that 88 car. Followed by Austin Green in 5th, and Casey Sprinkle all the way back in 6th, about the lowest he's been all night. Well, here they come into the restart zone after the 6th caution of the race. Brian Hennings goes and will be clear once again with a hit from Evan Carlbon, but we know he's going to stay down on the bottom. Doesn't want any part of the top side. Dejan Monte in the back in the 07 lime green car. Getting shuffled out right there, but he finds his way back in the line. What happened to the bottom? I mean, Wyatt Gray just is 5 truck lanes clear.
Looks like Austin Green, he shuffled up to the top. It stacked up both lanes. Axel Smith got out of the gas, and so did Tanner Kasinger. It's going to try and push that top lane on, but you're going to see how much this bottom really comes together and starts to form up. One turn towards the back, wrecking out back, but just one truck around. We are fine. Teresa Spiker, she's going to slide back up the track, still keep it green.
Wyatt Gray takes it to the top. Axel Smith, I thought, would be the one to take it, but he stays down there on the bottom. Wyatt Gray and Austin Green now hooked up together, along with Kasinger behind him. Carlbon still sitting down there in the 2nd position on the bottom lane. Now Wyatt Gray, what a run by them, all the way up to the door of Brian Hennings, but probably not going to be able to clear here just by the way the lines have been working so far in this one. Sure enough, Brian's still going to be the leader here. Only about how many cars are in this pack? What, 12, 11 cars in this main pack? That's all we have right here, it looks like. Maybe a little bit more, 13. And then there's just a big separation all the way to the back. Yeah, look at it. There's only like 5 cars that could even maybe get up there. So this will be your race here. I mean, the group you're looking at, one of these guys is going to win the race. That's who it is going to be. 6 laps to go this time by Austin Green, giving it to Wyatt Gray. Oh, Kasinger up 3rd, and Sprinkle trying to split him, and he's not going to be able to. Heading into 1.
And into 1, they're coming up on a lap car. Ambrose just trying to get out of the way whenever they get to him. Don't ruin the racing up front for this win. Coming to 5 laps to go. We're whittling down laps here. Wyatt Gray looking for that elusive win. He's had the points lead by a strangle. Basically could have locked himself in on points. Not many people could have said that here in the Lite Series, but he's done a great job up front trying to prove that he can get this race win. But the thing is, Casey Sprinkle trying to look to the middle of Kasinger, not going to work out, but Hennings, he has absolutely dominated this race here.
Kasinger needs to be careful because he keeps washing up. Oh, Hennings up to the top. He's going to try and block Gray, and Gray gets hooked right when we talk about him again. There's Axel Smith getting hooked as well. Austin Green, Richard Elliott, it continues. Dejan Monte involved in the 07. And Austin Green, that is a race ender for him and Gray in all likelihood. And there's Richard Elliott, the engine smoking on that machine. Dejan Monte also smoking. That is going to be the end of their races as well. Now, what... at first glance, I mean, it looked like Brian tried to block the top. Went up maybe a little too high or got shuffled. This will actually be a very good view of it if it stays here, and it doesn't, of course. So we'll take it up top. Get a blimp view of what went on right here. With Wyatt Gray and Brian Hennings. So See, Carlbon's riding a little high. That's irrelevant in this case. Hennings is going to clear up to the top and just goes way up the track, enough to where Wyatt has some room to split him. He's going to door Carlbon. You see Wyatt lifting, but nobody's lifting behind him. Green and Kasinger end up hooking Wyatt Gray and then Green down into Axel Smith. That is a shame for Axel, who had such a good run going in this race. You see Monte getting involved, Quentin Steinbach getting some from Teresa Spiker. Waring barely missing it. And there's Joey Galati going to nail Wyatt Gray. Oh, Dawson Wise getting spun in the back. Another case of ARCA braking going on right here. So I think I've said all I can say on that, and I'll leave it at that. But let's take a look at what happened to Dawson Wise, who just hits the brakes and ends up speed. I'm sorry, I just can't take my eyes of what that ARCA braking was that just happened right there. But Dawson Wise get a little loose on the apron. He's going to get away from this okay. Get a few more looks at this. See Gray getting hooked. Smith a big hit to that outside wall. Then another big hit for Wyatt Gray. They just continue right here, sorting it out. So that's our first wreck that's like kind of at the front of the field, at least in my knowledge, like directly at the front of the field that we've had so far, and it was the result of some contact between Wyatt Gray and Austin Green, and that ended. Wyatt Gray is still in the race. You see him in that 18, but look at the damage to that thing. I mean, he's killed up here, and that leaves it for Evan Carlbon, who was up here in P2. How about that for the Jack Shack, that number 78 car? Good to see that run that Carlbon's having. Then you have Tanner Kasinger. David Sheets, out of nowhere, is up in P3. Stephen Miles has worked his way to 5th. Sean Corbett is here too. A very solid run for Corbett. Quentin Steinbach has been involved in some accidents here tonight. He's in the top 10. Wyatt Gray is still showing in P9 right now, but he's going to be just a parachute up there, Baker.
Yeah, I really think this is Brian Henning's race to lose. He has a little bit of damage there on the rear end. Oh, no, actually, it looks like it cleared up. That's kind of weird. I'm actually kind of shocked that his damage just disappeared out of nowhere, but he had major damage on the right side. Sheets, though, on the bottom, going to have the most damage of these 6 front trucks. I think it's these 6 trucks or no one, because Sprinkle's not going to hang it out 3 wide. Neither is Kasinger may. But I think this is Brian Henning's race to lose here.
Yep, and it's going to be 2 laps to go this time. Bye for Brian Hennings and Evan Carlbon, 2 of the dominators of this race. They're in the box. Brian, a good launch. No help on the bottom for him from David Sheets. Kasinger glued to the back bumper of Evan Carlbon. That's going to give him a good run heading into 1. Hennings looking to try and block it. He's going to try and block. Oh, we're 3 wide. Miles getting under Sprinkle, and Kasinger gets hung out. But they're fighting over that spot. Oh, Kasinger dooring Sprinkle. He saves it. They're still dooring right here. Kasinger's still up in that 3rd. Oh, Steinbach gets hooked in the back. Only 1 car. The yellow flag will not fly. Brian Hennings is going to take the white flag. Evan Carlbon's still just right there. Could Carlbon get his first win in the PGR Lite Series? He has a nose into 1.
Bottom side starting to roll. That is Brian Hennings. Again, the top side, though, formed up. Casey Sprinkle, he's done a great job all night. Will Hennings come up to side draft, not able to really grab it, but you're going to see 2 by 2 as they enter turn 3. Who's going to get it? Hennings, he's got a nose out front. One wrecking out back across the white into the wall. It's going to be the run on the top side for Evan Carlbon. Who's going to get it? It's going to be a drag race to the line.
It's going to be Evan Carlbon wins the PGR Lite race by a nose over Brian Hennings. What another photo finish in the Lite Series. Evan Carlbon, the winner here tonight at Atlanta. How about that? And, of course, he has a picture of me as his picture, so that's nice. I guess both of us win the race, but wow. Evan Carlbon with the run off the top side beats Brian Hennings right here at the line. We'll take a look at it. Look, I know Carlbon is just on top of the world right now.
Have to burn it down. This would be one of the best burnouts you see.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And then Brian Hennings, a gut-punching P2 after the domination he's had tonight. Casey Sprinkle rounds out the podium. How about Evan Carlbon, your winner here tonight? Let's go ahead and take a look at just all the events of the white flag lap. Hennings led with 1 lap to go. He just didn't lead the one that mattered the most. We'll take this up top so we can really see the runs as they develop. Look at Carlbon. He has the nose right there. And I'll tell you, what really won Evan Carlbon this race was Casey Sprinkle. That push from him, I mean, you see, they're all pushing right here on the bottom, giving it all they can. And Hennings gets a better one going into 3, but just didn't get it out of turn 4. And Carlbon, he looks kind of dead in the water, and then the run out of nowhere, he's going to barely edge Brian Hennings out right there at the line because of that push from Casey Sprinkle in the outside development right there. What a great finish we had to this one. I'll tell you what, Baker, this was a pretty good race.
It really was a good race. You know, we had cautions toward the back end, about 2 or I think only probably 2 or 3 towards the back end, actually 4. But we had those green flag runs with only 2 cautions through the middle of the race. So kudos to these guys coming out here, running well, and it showed in the finish there.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to go ahead and go through the results right here. Evan Carlbon is the winner, as we mentioned. Brian Hennings in P2. Casey Sprinkle in 3rd. David Sheets in 4th. Tyler Vickery rounds out the top 5 in 5th. Stephen Miles, just outside of cash spot. What a run he had in this one. Finishes P6. Sean Corbett in 7th. Tanner Kasinger in 8th. Ambrose Knable, a great run for him in P9. And Dawson Wise will round out the top 10.
In 11th, you got Nick Simple. Michael Toscaro back to P12 after being in that wreck. Good points for him. Quentin Steinbach at 13th. Edward Fielder in 14th. Wyatt Gray 15th. 16th is going to be Brock Westmoreland. 17th is Axel Smith, the last car on the lead. That first car lap down. James Wagner, Jonathan Herbert in 18th. James Mooring in 20th.
Austin Green will finish 21st, 5 laps down tonight after a promising run for him. Richard Elliott, 22nd. Dejan Monte, 23rd. Teresa Spiker, 24th. Steve Sizemore, 25th. Michael Wingo, 26th. Joey Galati in 27th. Sean Hilkowitz, 28th. Chris Walker, 29th. And Greg Spiker in 30th.
In 31st, you got David Flanagan, Christopher Melton in 32nd. Chase Mistretta, 33rd. Josh McCullough, 28 laps down, but he finished the race, so he gets that Ambrose $10 award, so he gets a little bit of money back in his pocket. Josh Giambroni in 35th, Colton Salick 36th, Dalton Steele 37th, 38th, Rob Morris Jr., Tucker McClendon 39th, and Mark Vondell rounding out your 40 truck field.
Well, that was the results of this one tonight, which, like we said, I think this was a great race, probably the best one we've had this season. It was extremely entertaining. Well, give us a chance to go ahead and pull in your top 3 for interviews. Stick with us. Welcome back. We are going to go ahead and start tonight with your race winner, Evan Carlbon. Evan, Landon, and Baker in the booth. Do you have a copy?
I think so. Whew.
Well, that was quite the race from you and from Brian Hennings. Both of y'all kind of dominated this one along with Casey Sprinkle. It's a very deserving top 3 tonight, but this is your first ever win in PGR. How do you feel?
I could tell you right now that I'm shaking from head to toe. And I can't thank Casey enough for the push he gave me right at the end. It was just enough.
We made mention to that that Casey Sprinkle is really what won you this race with that run from the outside line. But what was your approach going into this one? Because like we said, it was you three that basically dominated the whole thing. You obviously had something figured out for this race tonight. So what were your thoughts?
I'm not gonna lie. I think I just got lucky the entire time. Because I was loose. There was a point in the race where I doored Casey up, and I was getting loose. I was getting tight, and all the cautions came out at the right time, and I was just able to save my tires that last green flag run. And yeah, I got a lucky caution, and I had Casey come up right behind me through the middle on those last 2 laps, and I got the job done. But I can't thank Casey enough. And for Brian to get a second place finish, it was just me and him most of the time up there, and that's good to run for him too.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. Well, go ahead and give out all your thanks and your shout-outs.
Shout out to my team for giving a chance for me, the Jack Shack. I finally won money, boys. I finally won money. And second of all, thank you to Casey, and thank you to PGR, Mike, Baker, everybody that puts on these shows every once in a while, or every week actually. Yeah, thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed the party, because it's only getting started. So.
Yes, sir. Well, that is your winner here tonight, Evan Carlbon. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Go ahead and talk to Brian Hennings next, and Matthew Baker stands by with him.
Hey, Brian, it's Matt and Landon up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, what's going on, guys?
Well, you know, one spot short of what you wanted, but you had a great run all night. Kept the luck on your side. Had a little bit of mix-up with Wyatt there, coming towards the middle, but at the end of the day, it's just hard racing. You lost a little bit of your push at the end there when Sheets got turned off his nose. What else do you think you could have done there to get that win?
Not much. I mean, there wasn't really an opportunity to jump up unless I would have done that right on the restart. And before this last restart, Evan said he was going to stick with me the whole way. And then that last caution came out. Yeah, I do think I did come up a little bit, which might have caused that whole little mix up there. But thanks for calling it a racing deal. But yeah, I mean, I went back and looked at the end there when I was coming out of 4. He just wasn't on my bumper, and the top guys, the 3 in the top, were just nose to tail. And you know Atlanta. I mean, if you get that run off 4 with the right people on the top line, you can prevail, and that's what happened. So good win for Evan. It was a good move.
Definitely a good move for Evan, but a great run for you all night, all day. Who did you like to take a shout out?
Just you guys for you and Triscaro for putting this league on. It's been a blast to be part of. Landon and everyone else from the PGR eSports with the broadcasting. It's always spot on. It's great. Just any of my teammates and your friends that might be watching. So we'll see you guys around.
And that is your second place finisher, Brian Hennings. Thanks for talking to us, buddy.
Thank you. Have a good night.
We'll go ahead and talk to your third place finisher here tonight, which is Casey Sprinkle. Casey, Landon, and Baker in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, there was 3 cars that dominated this race, and you were one of them, and they all finished in the top 3. So walk us through what your approach was through this one, because you were one of the forces out there.
Really just stay up front and get up front, stay up front, which I did because I knew the corner was just going to be in the back, but I didn't expect us to almost have a green flag pit stop. So that kind of was a little bit different. But yeah, only thing I was thinking was just stay up front and stay up there until the end.
And that is exactly what you did. And you ended up giving Evan Carlbon the push that he needed to win the race. Did it ever go through your mind that you would try to split Evan out coming towards the end and try and take it for yourself, or did you just want to stick behind him?
Not at all. As soon as I got behind him, I'm like, he pushed me a lot through the race, and I pushed him a couple times, and then Tyler was pushing through me, so I was like, yeah, I wasn't going to move at all. I was just going to stay behind him, and I got a P3 out of it, which I expected, so.
Well, you did have a very, very good run here. There was a few guys that needed some good runs, and you were one of them. Go ahead and give out your thanks and your shout-outs.
Really just John Ward and Corbett and Jonathan Herbert for helping with me in that race. I was working with them tonight. And Evan for helping me out, and Tyler at the end there. That's about it.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks for talking to us, Casey. Congrats on your third place run.
Thank you. Thanks for the broadcasting.
That was Casey Sprinkle, and well, Baker, we had a good one here tonight. Like I think we already talked about it. That was a lot of entertainment to just be a part of and take in. It's always unique coming to Atlanta. It's a little bit different, a little bit refreshing for people to come out and watch. And I think we had honestly the best race of our season here.
I mean, the longest green flag runs like we talked about. I think that the drivers really put it in their hands to put on the show tonight. Didn't really have to do with the track car combo. We went somewhere different. I think people were just a little more cautious. With the pit roads, with uh, having to really give people space if you went three wide, and if they could translate that over to Daytona and Talladega, which is really wishful thinking. I still think they can get it done. And that was just a great finish, maybe even a closer finish if Hennings doesn't lose his help there through the quad oval. But just a great race overall.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to congratulate Evan Carlbon on his win tonight, which, if I'm not mistaken, is his first in any PGR series outside of recruitment races. But in a major series like this, in the Intimidator series, Evan Carlbon gets it done. And I know he's been really wanting something like this for a very long time. So congrats to him. Thanks to all of y'all out there for watching. Thanks to Baker for being in the booth with me and doing RC, which is, as we say every week, quite the job to deal with. And he does it efficiently and about as good as anyone can. So shout out to him. Shout out to everyone at PGR as well. Go get signed up for the PGR 500. January 28th. The deadline is the day before, I believe. Go ahead and get signed up. We're up to about over 100 entries now. The goal is somewhere around 200, 250, something of that nature. We can get there. We still have a lot of guys, these regulars that we see every week, that haven't signed up yet. So come out, be someone new. Race with the likes of Michael Cozy and all these other guys, Daniel Falkingham. Lots of Coke Series pros, big names coming out here for this one. See if you can try your luck against them. Well, thanks again for tuning in here tonight. Congrats to Evan Carlbon on the victory. And we will see you next week for Baker. Fill me in, the regular season finale. What are we doing next week?
Our regular season finale should be Xfinity at Talladega, which is probably going to be a sneak peek of what the championship race is. I know you've been involved in some of the Xfinity racing that has been going on with the McCullough Motorsports and Dega Pros guys, and they've been running four wide. I think they figured out the track tent well, and people figured out how to push in them, and I think we can make that happen.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see that. And that is obviously our hope. Get some four-wide racing like we saw last night on PGR eSports. Holding a four-wide status for laps on end is something we all want to see. If that's going to be the championship, you're definitely going to have to tune into that. Thanks for watching tonight, and tune in next Monday for the Xfinity cars at Talladega, the regular season finale of the first ever season of the PGR Lite Series. We hope everyone watching, we hope y'all have an extremely good night.